Pierrot Le Fou is a 1965 French New Wave film by Godard that is filled with nuance, complexities, and passion. It's dense with meaning, and at times, Godard's pure intellect and poetic stream of consciousness makes it incredibly difficult to dissect, but I think that that's part of the point of art. The film follows Ferdinand, who abandons his monotonous middle-class life to run away with the exciting babysitter Marianne, whom he falls obsessively in love with, though she ends up double-crossing him, destroying their relationship. This is a film about freedom, love, and emotions, a self-portrait of Godard attempting to grapple with the absurdity that is being alive. In the beginning, Ferdinand speaks with director Samuel Fuller, who states that a film is like a battleground. It's love, hate, action, violence, and death. In one word, emotions. And this is what the film is truly about. So let's start with the beginning of the film, which exposes Ferdinand's desperate desire to escape his bourgeois life. At a cocktail party, he observes conversation with bold colored lighting. The use of color is continuously a key factor of Godard's work. Here it creates these beautiful tableaus containing conversations, some artificial, as the conversations are corrupted by capitalist consumer culture. As established in the opening scene, he's sick of imbeciles and he's sick of this age of ass and wants to escape this bourgeois life that has led him to depression. The use of strong colors reflects Godard's view on consumerist culture, reminiscent of Andy Warhol's art. The colors are visually satisfying, but it juxtaposes against the ugly reality of consumer culture, where capitalism and consumerism is drenched in color to distract us. Godard uses this technique continuously throughout the film, where visually appealing scenes distract us from the violent and horrific content of them. In one of these conversations, Ferdinand joins in and in a stream of intellectual, philosophical stream of consciousness, spilling out Godard himself, says that he feels like many different people, foreshadowing how Marianne calling him Pierrot translated to sad clown instead of Ferdinand, as she deceives him. Here, by stating that he feels like two different people, Godard suggests that he has lost his sense of self and identity. Instead, he's defined by the roles he plays: a father, husband, working man. He's not connected to life anymore. It's more that life is happening to him. He's completely lost his passion and purpose, and thus, when a moment of desire and passion is ignited by Marianne, he chases it and becomes obsessed with it and abandons his life for that moment of freedom. As Ferdinand says, to want, you have to be alive. And so he follows Marianne, his object of desire, on a crime spree across France, as being crazy and in love is the same thing in their eyes. Godard embraces the absurdity of being alive through scenes such as them driving a car into the water, the odd musical numbers, walking in water with their clothes on, setting the car on fire. The absurdist tone of the film reflects the freedom of Camus' absurdism philosophy. Marianne and Ferdinand have this freedom. Nobody knows who they are, and they don't care about what anyone thinks. They don't care about consequences, only each other. As Ferdinand states, I only exist for you. But this absurdism is symbolized in several scenes. For example, as they walk along the beach, their footsteps in the sand fade away, suggesting that their mark on the world is temporary. They are temporary and must make the most of the world while they're there. As poetically stated by Ferdinand, life is sad, but it's beautiful. Their only purpose is to enjoy existing and enjoy the beauty of being free. This film is Godard's reflective attempt to depict life itself, not people's lives.
J'ai trouvé une idée de roman. Ne plus décrire la vie des gens, mais seulement la vie. La vie, toute seule.
Thus, the film is filled with contradictions, such as the tension between nature and people, such as the smoke filling the landscape, the car driving into the water, the dynamite explosion which pans to the ocean. Also the colors in this film, blue versus red. Blue symbolizes the intellect, whilst red symbolizes passion, love, and emotion. These contradictions are always in tension with each other, which is what Godard claims is life and emotion. And the characters even confront this tension, when Ferdinand says that it's impossible to have a conversation with you. You never have ideas, only feelings. Thus, Ferdinand wears blue for the majority of the film as he's chasing his desire to become a writer and a poet. He's the one with reason, trying to make sense of the world through writing, and the intellectual pursuit of knowledge through reading and pondering, whilst Marianne, consumed by passion, is the dreamer who loves music, not books, who lives by feelings.
Je t'ai dit un disque tous les 50 livres. La musique après la littérature.
However, after Marianne deceives Ferdinand, and he's being questioned by gangsters, they put a red dress over his face, suggesting that her passion and freedom is suffocating him, keeping him trapped due to his obsession with her, a reflection of Godard's actual relationship with Anna Karina, who plays Marianne, which was falling apart around the shooting of this film. But after this deception, Ferdinand wears red, as he becomes passionate and emotional, whilst Marianne wears blue as she's intellectually deceived him, yet also red because she's still chasing this passion and feeling and ends up going back to him. Though finally he shoots her and her boyfriend in a fit of rage over her deception, and before she dies, as the red blood invades her blue shirt and drips over her face and blue eyeshadow, she confesses her regret and asks for forgiveness from Ferdinand. She succumbs to emotion, as opposed to her deceiving intellect. She dies, and Ferdinand, heartbroken, paints his face blue before a poetic suicide, in attempt to remove his identity even further and return to the intellect, free himself from his emotion and passion. He wraps himself with a strong primary color dynamite and immediately regrets it. But it's too late, and his suicide pans to the ocean. Here I think Godard reflects the defeat of Camus' absurd hero, one who's emotionally detached from the world, immoral, and lacks belief in religion. Throughout the film, Ferdinand is an absurd hero, recognizing the absurdity of life, treading the line between nihilism and absurdism. Though to Camus, suicide is failure. It's philosophical suicide. It's an inability to recognize the absurd value of one's life. And Ferdinand gives up. He falls into nihilism. What's the point, he states, as he falls into a moment consumed by passion. The reason of his being alive before was routine, and when he met Marianne, she became his reason. He only exists for her. He exists for freedom. But with her gone, he is nothing, and so he commits suicide, despite ultimately regretting it. What's left after death? Only beauty, and thus the pan to the ocean. There is no point, so we must live freely, acknowledging this absurdity and appreciating the beauty. Life is always beautiful. Some fail to see it, but our fate is the same. This is a film that makes me want to make art. I can feel the passion, I can feel Godard's voice. There is so much nuance, ambiguity, and depth in this film that I can't even begin to unpack without understanding Godard as a person. It's near impossible to understand his intentions and get everything out of this film. This is only my second time watching. I watched it last night with my roommate, and I still felt lost after watching it. But one thing is for sure, that Godard knows how to create emotion. This is one of the films that drives my passion for art. And so, I tried to unpack it and put my thoughts and feelings to words. Life may be sad, but it's always beautiful, and Godard captures this beauty. If you haven't already, watch this film and read Camus' work, specifically The Myth of Sisyphus. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you later.